Hello, everyone. I'm Ben Coleman, one of your many hosts for the Florida Aviation Network, and we're with you live and in the clear, Reno 2018, the beautiful Valley of Speed as you see behind me. And we're here talking with people that know just a little bit about aviation and a lot more about entertainment and thrilling people. Zach.
Ben, good to see you again. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Zach. Zach McNeill has been around for a while, and we're going to find out a little bit more of what goes on behind these. They're not foster ground. I got Oakleys. We're going to find out what's going on behind these Oakleys because he flies this airplane. And Zach, tell us a little bit about yourself and this airplane.
Oh, the L-39 is the L-39 Albatross, owned by Harder Investment Strategies. A guy I've been flying with and actually trained to fly this airplane about 12 years ago. This Albatross is actually a best of show at Oshkosh, so it's one of the nicest, if not the nicest, L-39s in the world.
I overheard you say that it's just as shiny and pretty and bright and clean on the inside as it is on the outside.
Yeah, they actually disassembled every part on this airplane and then painted it and put it all back together. So if you take the engine compartments and open up, how it shines out here is the same on the inside. It's unbelievable.
Well, tell me a little bit about the paint scheme. It's very interesting. What does this Z signify here?
So Z is, I just retired from the military about a year ago, and that's what everybody called me. My first name is Zach, and that's just too long, right? So it just has to be one syllable. Everybody calls me Z.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to get the Z in this shot or not. Dave, that was for you. We're going to get plenty of Z in here. Okay. Oh, we're coming down the line. A little bit of competition here. Hey, tell you what, Z, let's take a little brief intermission here, and let's go watch the race. We're going to come back. Don't go away. Okay, we're back, and the P-51s. I guess that was a stock class going for the goal. You got to get here. If you've not been to a Reno, you have got to get to one of these Reno events. And getting back to Z, tell you what. Tell us a little bit more about the L-39 and what you do in the aircraft. You actually own the course here. Do you race?
Yeah, I do. I race in the bronze class with the Harder Investment Strategies 39. Last year, of course, I raced a couple, Vampire and this L-39. Vampire wasn't ready this year, so we decided just to come with the L-39. We're racing in the bronze class. We now have the pole position in the bronze. Didn't have a great qualifying day, but was able to maneuver a little bit and get around a couple of my friends and fellow racers. And so now we're sitting on the pole. We got 2 more races to get that trophy.
Well, Z, I tell you, I have not been on the course, but I understand that the place to be is in the lead. Because if you're in the back stretch of this thing, does it get a little bit bumpy back there?
Yeah, and it also combines with the wind. So even if you're in the lead and you got over 25 knots of wind out here, if you see the hills all around us, it creates a kind of a rolling turbulence. That rolling turbulence comes over the race course. So even if you're in the lead, you get kicked around a little bit. Now, if you're 3 and 4 and you're all tight, you can be turned upside down. I've been turned upside down one time on the course, and that'll wake you up.
The G loads and every now and then you guys have got to touch. Every now and then you got to touch.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a reality when you have your vectors coming so fast at each other. Really, it comes down to you got to rely on the guy next to you. If he's the guy trying to pass it, he's going to avoid you. Today we had a couple people touch. The outcome was brilliant. Both pilots are highly experienced. They were able to keep their airplanes under control, and they, part of their airplanes came off, and it was an amazing job. I have trained one of the pilots that was involved, and I can't be any prouder of him. He didn't panic. He didn't do anything dumb. He just stuck with his airplane, figured out how to fly it, get it back safely, and man, I'd like to pin a medal on him if I could.
How about just a big old fat wet kiss on the cheek? I mean,
I already did that.
I tell you what, Zach, you talked about training, and the thing that we're all about at Florida Aviation Network and Obi and his staff, safety. These things aren't terribly safe in the wrong hands. What do we do, and you do as a professional, to make sure that we keep these aircraft in the right hands and operating safely? If you had a benchmark, what would you be using as a benchmark?
Well, the first benchmark we always use is the level of skill and experience. in any airplane, we always have a minimum level. Even when you're doing your private license, you got to have 40 hours. Is that enough? Well, that depends on the person. In these, we have a minimum of 1,000 hours and an instrument ticket. And that's really just a qualification bar that says, okay, we're ready to train you now. After you reach that qualification bar, then you have to go through an experienced instructor. And then once you go through the instructor, you have to take a check ride, just like you do anywhere else in the flying realm. I'm the guy that administers those check rides, and the FAA selected me after I was instructing for several years in these. And we got 5 guys, maybe 6. I can't remember. It's 5 or 6 examiners that work and are specialists in these type. I fly about 18 different types of these. So.
Zach, there's something that I've noticed about you're a professional and have been in aviation for a while. I've been in aviation for quite a while, but there's something I see a similarity in between us, and I don't know, Dave, if you can accentuate this. We have a 6-pack. Actually, it's an ab. One of your sponsors is 6packabs.com, abs after 40. We need to change that to ab after 40 because I have one nice size ab here. How about you?
Well, the great thing is I'm the example starting this year as they're sponsoring us. So they're working with me to get me to a 6-pack. So next year, come back and we'll do an ab comparison. All right, and they really are a great company. Look them up online, but they have some great techniques on how to lose weight. And here's the deal: get out of the Navy 14 months ago, right? They made me run and do all this stuff forever, and I'm like, I'm never working out again. Well, what I learned is there was some wisdom in that. So I'm re-engaging and trying to get myself back on tip-top shape, and they're helping me. So I really appreciate it.
Isn't it amazing how we can fall into some bad habits as we get older, and the kids out there, we want to. If I was 12 years old and I was watching this clip and looking at this old guys, were you ever young?
Yeah. Well, my wife is right over there. She'll tell you I've never grown up. But the trick with aviation right now is how do we get that next generation involved? Me and my friends, a lot of these guys in this jet class, the Classic Jet Aircraft Association, we spend an inordinate amount of time trying to get the next generation involved. The only way this stuff's going to, keep going is if those 12-year-olds, and I got a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
The 16-year-old you don't know about.
There might be one of those, but she has a gun pointed at us, so I don't want to answer that question.
Collateral damage.
Yeah. No, but I mean, if we don't keep concentrating and showing our young ones the brilliance and the importance of aviation and all those type of STEM, science, math, and keep pushing that in our next generation, we're going to lose all our engineers. And we need to. Flying is just a result of brilliant engineering.
And a fact is also, I just learned today, STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, is now STEAM. They've added arts in there.
Really?
So STEM is transforming into STEAM, and arts. Do you play music?
No, I've never had that skill. I can't sing either.
I guess we should have talked about this before. I was trying to segue into. Okay, let's. You do play music, don't you?
I play the harp. Yeah.
Okay. Is that that's not the skin. No, I'm not going there. But typically you'll find that majority of your aviation-minded people are also musicians. And there's a common area. There's memory skills, there's eye-hand coordination, there's discipline, and this is very, very similar with aviation. And you can talk to that.
Yeah, I mean, flying when you are when you're teaching someone, it's a very rote memorization, very put your pipper 5 degrees above the horizon and be very precise, but it's more mechanical. As you get into more and more experience, in order for you to evolve to stuff like this, you have to be able to fill an airplane or have a more artistic feel. We really, as we're flying these in airship, so we're kind of showing our art. We have all the engineering and mechanical and all that kind of information about how wing flies and all that stuff behind us, but then we take those limits and we apply it to try to put on the best show that we can.
And when this has a single engine, and when the fire goes out in this engine, what do you have here in front?
You have a heavy glider.
Okay.
And I've had it happen not in a 39, but in a 29. I just got lucky it happened in the pattern. And we had an engine flame out here just 2 years ago, and basically all you can do is put that aircraft and keep it flying all the way down to the ground. You know, Bob Hoover said it best: you fly it all the way through the crash.
Yeah, that's right.
You know.
And again, gliders, for you 12 years old, if you're listening to this and you're 12 years old, on your 14th birthday, you can solo a sailplane.
Yep. You can solo a glider before you can drive a car.
And there's a reason for that, because I mean, you're young, you're alert, and gliding is so important to learn your energy management, because when you had your flame out, you had an aircraft that was a glider, and then you had energy that you had to manage.
Yeah, it's all a trade-off. You know, it's potential versus kinetic energy, and you stay in. And I have this pretty extensive background in helicopters in the Navy, and auto rotations are all potential versus kinetic energy. So it was a really neat transition to go into the jets, and actually it was a backwards transition. I started flying these jets when I was 19 years old. So I went in the Navy at 25 and learned how to fly helicopters. So I took that energy transition, and it really made things simple. But it's a brilliantly hard concept for young people to get. So if you are able to get into a glider club, you know, and here's what I recommend: go to the glider club and volunteer to watch the gliders, and I guarantee 4 or 5 guys will line up to help you.
Yeah.
You know, be proactive about being involved in aviation, and guys like us will bend over backwards and do whatever we can to help you obtain a pilot's license.
And Zach, you mentioned it's very apropos that that sounds like a B-25 sounded about kind of. Okay, cool. Okay. That it's important for us to get them involved. It's more important, I think, for us to show them the way. It's up to them to get involved, and you can lead a horse to water.
Yeah, you got to show us step one, that you want and are interested. And I know all my friends here, yourself, anyone in aviation who sees a young guy, a gal, that especially need gals too. If you show interest, I guarantee you'll have more support than you can imagine.
Zach, I know that you have a lot of the places. We got a whole line of people here that's wanting to talk with you, but we do want to thank you for. We need to get back together and develop some of your DPE experiences, and we are going to be putting together a how to do it to show kids flight line etiquette. That the PDOT mask there is not a chin-up bar. And but we're going to be putting that together, because it's up to us to show them the way. And gentlemen like yourself and your Mr. Harder, I'm sure, is right behind you as far as helping out with this.
He's big into the STEM and anything he can do to help.
We are going to
into STEAM. Sorry, STEAM. Yes.
Yeah. Arts. It's throwing the arts in it, because this is an art. It's an art form.
Art of flying. Yep.
Okay, Zach, we're going to let you go, man.
Thanks, Ben. I appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Usual.
Seeing you again. Sorry. Nice.
Attaboy, I was fixing to say, boy, a little Alzheimer's setting in here on it already.
Age is catching up.
Okay, we're going to sign off for this interview and let this man get on to his other fans over here in the club. And we're going to talk to you at another interview. We've got some more dynamic people, not nearly as dynamic as Z, but we got some more dynamic folks to talk to. See you.